Hello. Because I'm getting closer and closer to my next race, my mind is thinking about race things. And I decided to share with you how I set micro goals within the race to ensure that I have a good one. I usually set 3 goals for any race that I do, but in particular for ultras, anything that's like a longer distance, because so many more things can go wrong with a longer distance race than a shorter distance race. I like the idea of using different types of goals in order to ensure I have something to focus on if things start going wrong during the race. I usually set 3 specific goals when it comes to picking how I'm going to approach a race from a strategy standpoint. Let's begin. The first goal is just show up to the starting line. Showing up to the starting line is key. It means that I did all of my training smart enough that it didn't prevent me from getting to the race. In running circles, we have what's known as a DNS. And a DNS means did not start. A DNS is a terrible ranking to get when it comes to a race. If you don't make it to the race, and barring some tragedy that befell you or your family, loved ones, friends, whatever the case may be, if you simply didn't make it to the race because of poor training or nutrition or some other thing that was definitely within your control and should have been monitored during your training, if you don't make it to the race because of that and get a DNS, that is terrible. So the very first goal I set for myself, make it to the start line. The second goal I set for myself is finish the race. The whole purpose of signing up for a race is to complete the race. And if I achieved goal number 1 and I arrived at the start line, then all should be good. It means that I trained properly, I'm not injured or sick or worn out, and I can start the race with the intention of finishing the race. Again, in running circles, when you don't complete a race, it's what's known as a DNF, did not finish. You will hear people say, well, DNF also means did nothing foolish, especially if somebody pulls themselves out of a race because they just feel like garbage. That's all well and good, but the truth is a DNF isn't particularly honorable. It's better than a DNS because at least you started the race, but a DNF leaves a little hole in your soul, and nobody wants one of those. The third and final thing is a PB. A PB means a personal best. It means that I've achieved a brand new standard for whatever race or distance I was using or doing as far as a goal is concerned. And that's a pretty big deal. Getting a PB is infrequent. We can't always improve upon past performances. Sometimes the best we can do is just match past performances, or in the absence of a PB or even matching a past performance, at least we got to the race, started, and we finished it. Those are pretty big successes when you think about it. And as goal setting goes, having those 3 goals in your back pocket as you race are invaluable because they keep you on task. They keep you focused. They give you something to celebrate no matter what the outcome is. It gives you 3 possible outcomes that are all successes. You showed up, you finished, and maybe you set a personal best. And that right there sounds a lot like how you should approach anything in life. When it comes to setting goals for your career, for your relationships, it doesn't really matter what it is. Just showing up is a success. Finishing what you started is a pretty big deal too. And if you can set a new standard for whatever it was that you were trying to do, that's as good as it gets, isn't it? Everything else falls away because everything else doesn't matter when you show up, follow through, and maybe set a new standard of excellence. I guess there is another option, and it's kind of based off of the philosophy of Homer Simpson. That lesson is never try. And if you never try, you can never fail. That right there, that might just be a life hack.